Friday night sports show heading to North Central, and again, like everywhere else in Victoria, it's wait and see. It feels like one of those never-ending lollies that Grandma used to buy you down at the corner store. And I'll tell you what, it is Ricky Allen who joins us from the Wetcherproof Narraport Footy Club and for North Central Footy. Hey, Ricky, how are you?
Yeah, going well, Wayne. Just got the fingers and toes crossed for a bit of rain this afternoon.
Oh, yes, you have been chatting to our correspondents through the areas of the northwest of Victoria, and everyone is just hoping for it to set in, and hopefully by the time we're going to air, that rain has set in across the North Central and the Wimmera and Mallee areas. But Ricky, settling in to not playing at the moment, and the scenario that really has probably been finalised this week in terms of North Central football is that the season will finish on Grand Final Day. That is AFL Grand Final Day, by hook or by crook. There won't be any continuation on into October for North Central footy.
No, that's right. I think just with the logistics of running into your tennis bowls, cricket season, plus, also whether they're going ahead or not, but weddings, people go away. Just that springtime is really, times have changed in terms of sport and people's plans. So, they've decided that the 25th will be the last date no matter what.
And that would seem to indicate there were school holidays too, another factor. Kids haven't been able to be in school, they've been in homeschool, but it would seem to indicate that, who knows whether the Victorian government is thinking about coming back and maybe coming out of a lockdown situation after school holidays. We hope that it is before the school holidays for all the families, but that has an impact on how they may view the football and sporting competitions. And the option one is still there that they would play on the 11th or 12th of the month, which is, of course, next weekend. I don't reckon that looks likely, Ricky.
No, I think you can cross that one out, Wayne. The way things are travelling, especially with the, every couple of days the cases seem to be doubling, and I know it's not out in the regions or in terms of other than sort of Shepparton up this way, but more cases probably equals the less chance of getting footy underway, so I think we can rule out next weekend.
All right. Now, the option two would be a start on the 18th and 19th in a 2-week final series. So that takes in this whole idea of 1 versus 4 and 2 versus 3. And then the grand final at Wetcherproof on the 25th, the AFL Grand Final Day. Now, looking at the scenarios, Sea Lake Nandalia, the top side, they are not grossly affected by any situation. So let's put that say the northwest of Victoria came out of lockdown at a shire level. Which would be the shires that would need to come out of lockdown for North Central football to continue?
Yeah, so obviously the main one being the Bullock Shire has the majority of the towns. Wedderburn, who are sitting third, and I'm talking on just on behalf of the senior football, sitting third, but obviously they're on top in the A-grade netball as well. They're in the Loddon Shire, which goes a bit further south and runs into Bendigo there. So if we start coming out in shires, it does create a few headaches. And then obviously we have Tanana in the northern Grampians as well. So, there is a couple of issues there, Wayne, if they do go down that path of just letting out shires.
And, of course, that would mean for the Sea Lake Nandalia Club, they have a few players come across from Swan Hill, not a lot of players outside of the Bull Lake Shire, not grossly affected by it. But next on the list is, in second place, Birchip Watcham. Now, they do have players coming out of Bendigo.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they've got a number of players. You've got Sam Simmons, Riley Hogan, Will Lowe, those boys coming out of Bendigo, on top of the ones they're already missing from Melbourne, because if Bendigo won't be Bendigo won't be in lockdown and Melbourne out. So Castellano, Ratcliffe, the numbers are starting to weigh up. And I know their seconds are travelling really well, but there's some quality players they're going to have to replace if Bendigo remains in lockdown.
Okay. Next on the list is Wedderburn. Now, if Wedderburn were to make it into, say, this second option, which was the 2-week final series, so second versus third, they get Birchip Watcham. What would Wedderburn be, and what position would they be in if, say, Loddon did come out and they were able to play, or Regional Victoria came out? Would there be any losses of players from Bendigo for the Wedderburn side?
Heavily affected, I would have thought, Wayne. Wedderburn being closest to Bendigo, have always recruited really well out of Bendigo, plus a lot of their local kids leave Wedderburn for a trade or university. It's only 40 minutes, so A number of them live in Bendigo. I'd say majority of their side, including their coach, obviously Sam Barnes, so he would be able to attend. I think you could rule them out if Bendigo was out of lockdown, sort of similar to Donald and Melbourne.
Okay, and then moving to Donald and the Melbourne situation, if, say, the Bullocks Shire or the northwest of Victoria or all the regional Victoria comes out in time for a game of footy to be played, the option 2 would be that they would want to be playing that game of football over the 18th or the 19th. Probably the 19th they would play their game of football, or maybe the 18th they play Sea Lake Nandaly. So what would be their issue? I mean, would they be able to play, and are you hearing that they would be able to put a team on the park regardless, or would that still be the position that we talked about last week where they would be forced to forfeit that game?
I think they would. I can't speak on behalf of Donald, Wayne. What I'd imagine they'd do is bring up a lot of their under-16 players to play. They'd be young, obviously a bit more athletic than some of their seconds players, I would have thought. It'd be more of an under-16s outfit with a combination of, say, 5 to 10 other senior players, I would imagine. But whether they go down that path or not, I'm not too sure. Can't speak on behalf of Donald. But if Melbourne doesn't come out, that's a real issue for Donald and the league as well. Okay,
so the final option is top 2 sides just play off for the grand final. Sea Lake and Nandaly play Birchip Watchet. We get a replay of the 2019 grand final at Witcherproof. So you're on the barbecue, I would say.
Well, that's if barbecues are allowed, Wayne. We'll see how we go. But wouldn't that be interesting? A game after, especially, Sea Lake haven't played for 3 months, have to play a one-off hit out against Birchip to decide the grand final. So that would certainly be, an interesting day. And whether or not we got a barbecue in, that'll be another issue as well.
Crowds become the issue here. If, say, the Northwest comes out in some form, or from Loddonshire right out to Grampians, North Grampians, right out to the border, if those all came out of lockdown of some sort and we were able to get back on the park and there were no crowds, would the league still be playing with no crowds, do you think, Ricky?
I think they're going to go ahead with no crowds, Wayne. Again, that would be another different scenario, playing a grand final after not playing for a couple of months in front of no crowd. So being at Witcherproof, we might look at something perhaps of serving meals upstairs and working with the requirements in terms of per head, per space, and perhaps selling off a couple of tickets to go up there as a crowd member as well, or something like that. I'm not too sure. There's a lot of hypotheticals getting thrown up, but I know if you in terms of last lockdown, if you were serving a meal at a licensed venue, you were able to attend. Not so much that wasn't a spectator at a game. One of the loopholes that I think a couple of clubs may have got away with in the past couple of weeks.
All right. It's a really interesting one. This is to look at it in its whole light. The other option is that the season would get cancelled. And is that a field now going through the clubs? I mean, just the thinking around the place. Are you hearing that clubs will be almost now at the point, given another week, they might be open to just cancelling?
Yeah, it's a bit hard for myself to speak. Obviously, the footy club of Witcherproof Narraport's not involved in finals, so it's a bit hard to speak. But I reckon being a player and that long between games, and also now because you're not allowed to train together either way, and I think you're allowed to train in groups of 2. So it'd be very hard, and I do sympathise with clubs, but also coaches trying to keep your players motivated and to a standard of fitness that's required. I guess the only advantage is that every club's in a very similar boat at the moment. So they'd all be trying to gain a little edge here or there, I would have thought. But, it'd be quite tough. And, the current coaches of the top 4, especially in the senior grades of both netball, football and also hockey, it'd be very tough keeping your players motivated.
Absolutely. Good comment. And it is an interesting time for everyone across North Central, both football, netball and hockey too, because that is also the other consideration, how to get it out onto the park, how to get everyone out onto the park, how to get it out in a way where it could be restricted with no crowds, but the space that people are playing in could become restricted too. Which grounds do you then use and so forth to do that where the hockey play is nearby and so on. It is a very tough time for administrators in North Central, and Ricky Allen, thanks for joining us each week to bring us up to date. We do appreciate it.
Thanks.